Hey, friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found, and of course, taped live at the Twitch at twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. Coming up this weekend, we've got, started slipping to Macho Man. Coming up this weekend, we've got Crown Royal. Oh, yeah, that's right. The WWE's going back to Saudi Arabia. That's right. There's lots of threats and stuff going on, but they got emergency plans. Not a problem. Yeah, that's a mess. Anyways, so yeah, this coming Saturday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be doing our watch-along and a review of Crown Royal. We're going to be doing a simulcast of the watch-along here on the Twitch and on the YouTube, so be sure to check that out. We're going to be doing it for a charity as well. That's right, a very good charity called the Trevor Project. That's right. It's good stuff. So check that out. And then, yeah, otherwise, there's no Smash Zone tomorrow, correct? No Smash Zone, because you and I have a meeting.
Yeah, we have a meeting about a very important business meeting about
we got the Brain Trust
stuff.
About the business of professional wrestling. The Brain Trust is getting together. We got Resurgence coming up, ACW, December 10th. Get your tickets now at Eventbrite here in Northern California. So,
indeed,
no
or
Smash
travel
Zone.
from out of town if you want to for it.
Right. Yeah. Travel from out of the country.
Yeah.
Around the world, the globe of Earth. As you say. Anyways, I know you're clearing all the phlegm so you can talk about tonight's wildly weird episode of Dynamite.
I was feeling pretty good today, and then Jeff Jarrett showed up on my TV screen, and I got a little congested.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Makes sense. So tonight's episode of Dynamite, a weird one. We're going to talk about that in a second, but first we got to talk about this, and I'm refusing, Larson, to put this guy on our thumbnails again.
It's good. He needs a break.
He needs a break. We all need a break. We all need a break from CM Punk on our thumbnails on YouTube. I think everybody needs a break from that. However, oh boy, what a wild couple days it's been for Phil Brooks. So on Tuesday's show, that was yesterday. That was just yesterday. We talked about.
Yesterday was Tuesday? Why does Tuesday feel so long ago?
It does, doesn't it? Feels like forever ago. Nuts. It's the weather. It's gotten dark like early. Like it was dark outside at like 11 a.m. It was weird.
Yeah.
Anyways, but then it got brighter and then it got darker again. We talked about Nick Hausman's appearance on Wrestling Observer Radio, Larson, where he mentioned that he says, this is a quote. He says, "I've known a lot of people that have known Punk say to me, this guy's never going to wrestle again. He's done. However,
what?
Let's do a 180 here. Fightful Select reported just today's Wednesday, that a source close to Punk stated that Phil, quote, he's got the wrestling bug again. Sources also indicated that it had been made clear to them at least that options would be available if and when Punk wants to wrestle again. One option could be the Federation, the WWE. One source told Fightful that WWE would possibly be interested in bringing in Punk. So, Larson, what's your read on this? Will he or won't he? Is he done? Or does he want to do more?
It's just not Phil fatigue on these thumbnails. It's this back and forth.
Oh man,
you could do one thing, do another thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like none of these comments are directly from Phil.
Yeah.
Not from Punk, as far as we know. He's going to do this thing. He's not going to do that thing. He's going to do that thing. No, he's not going to do this thing. And it's like last week, it was every day. Yeah. Last week, I think it was. They had Phil the thumb.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
I didn't initially put this story into the notes because I was like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
We're going to get this kind of stuff for a while, whatever. And then you wanted in here because you thought it was funny.
It is funny. Well, it's funny. It's because I feel like this has got to be, until there's like an official, like, a final cap on this with AEW perhaps saying, yeah, we've agreed. And it's like the paperwork, the ink is dry and maybe there's a cap on it. This has got to be it. Because here's the thing. Nick Hausman saying a lot of people have known Punk. say, yeah, he's never going to wrestle again.
That sounds like speculation of people that have known Punk, not exactly Punk telling them that he's never going to wrestle again.
This next one is Punk. I'm telling you, because here's the thing. Somebody puts out there, he's never going to wrestle again. And Punk's like, hold on a second. Wait a second.
Got the wrestling bug.
Yeah, number one, I kind of want to stick it to AEW and be like, yeah, I might go over to WWE. He probably won't, but he probably wants to keep that out there.
Although, Steve, I should mention there is an important, the last line of this Fightful report is Fightful did reach out to CM Punk directly, but we haven't heard back. That's the last line of this.
Oh, I'm sorry. The quote was from Ricky Rabies. I'm joking. But you know, it could be a Punk camp situation.
Exactly.
It could be, you know, any number of proxies, perhaps. I don't know how this stuff works. I'm not Sean Ross Sapp. That being said, yeah, I don't know. It kind of feels like this is maybe somebody at his behest correcting it.
Entirely possible. It's just a lie.
Like it.
It's once he released that statement before Dynamite, or statement was released to Nick Houseman, sorry. And ever since then, it's just been a constant flow of people point of views getting out there and other little bits of information. I was actually kind of excited earlier this week when we had no Punk stories.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
I feel like that was the case on Monday, but I could be wrong. We could have Punk stories then.
Yeah,
it's fun to talk about other things in wrestling.
Yeah. It but you know, every little thing.
Every little thing. Yeah.
I think to me it's just funny. It's funny that like fucking 14 months ago. It was like, oh my God, I just give me all the Punk you could possibly give me. I want more Punk. And now it's like, this guy needs to fuck off now. Go the fuck away. It's been 14 months.
Hey, let's take all this energy we're talking about someone who may never wrestle again. Let's talk about Sami Zayn. Who is currently in the business and doing really awesome stuff. Let's put over Sami Zayn. Let's talk about him.
Oh, we talk about him plenty, man. We do. Look,
about more.
Hey, Sam, the kind of praise we've been heaping on Sami Zayn and Jey Uso, saying it's like the wrestling's Breaking Bad and Ozark.
Yeah,
they're getting lots of love these days. And it's funny. I was actually kind of surprised. I didn't know if it was the costumes or the thumbnail of the Bloodline, but Monday's episode, yeah, that was all Bloodline. There was no Punk on that thumbnail.
No Punk.
Trying to remember if there was a Punk subheader. I think there might have been.
There wasn't. There was no Punk. There was no in Monday's episode. There was no talk of Punk.
Really?
Zero.
What was the subheader?
It was.
Here it is.
Kevin
report
changing Kevin Owens' creative.
Oh yeah. Because the headline was about him breaking him. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Wow.
No Punk.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, that element is funny to me. Honestly, the only reason, because you did not have it on the notes, and I did it as kind of a troll, because it's like, oh yeah, yesterday it was like, oh, he's never gonna wrestle again. Now he's got the wrestling bug. It's been fucking 6 weeks since he humiliated himself in that media scrum, and he's got the bug again. He can't wrestle for another 8 months, but he's got the bug. What the fuck is that? Yeah, no, sorry, no. So yeah. Anyways, I thought Dynamite was weird and kind of awesome tonight. There was a lot of stuff going on, a lot of returns. The best, of course, Colt Cabana.
Yes.
To our TV screen.
Sorry, I thought you were going to talk about Jeff Jarrett already.
You were preemptively face palming. I like that.
Yes, with the Jeff Jarrett. But Colt, yes, it was awesome to see Colt. He answered Chris Jericho's open challenge for the Ring of Honor title.
Mm-hmm.
We hadn't seen Colt on AEW TV in quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
But it was good to see him.
The emotion was everything. It was thick with that guy. And he came out, and you could just tell, man, this was a moment. This was such a moment for him. Jericho made him look like $1 million.
Yep.
That was
Crowd
awesome.
Gave him a great reaction.
Crowd gave him a terrific reaction. Shockingly, there wasn't that one AEW fan that's always there that,
is
that
the front row holding up a giant sign or something like that.
Yeah,
blocking
right.
Everybody's view behind it.
And then like it says CM Punk on it or something like that. So that's awesome. That's really great. And then of course this was interesting and awesome. Jeff Jarrett made his debut for AEW. And it's oh man, the world seems right. I've been wondering all this time, like, what really do I need in my AEW? It's Jeff Jarrett. Yeah, I didn't know I was missing it, but now I got it, and I'm so happy.
No, I didn't. I mean, I could tell you exactly what was missing from AEW. Jeff Jarrett ain't it, though. If anything, Jeff Jarrett exacerbates the issues that plague AEW. It's another person who's going to take airtime from people who have been there for a while. And you know, I understand Jeff Jarrett's he's a Hall of Famer. He's had a really good career for himself. I understand that he has fans out there.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be moving the needle very much.
Oh, wow. The negativity I hear right now. In the words of Rick Ross, we're here for positivity, Larson. Accusations.
Accusations. There you go.
Shout Rick out Ross to all the pair. Rick Ross needs to be a manager, Larson.
Gosh.
Alex, Queen of the Ring, tweeted this out, and I couldn't agree more. Somebody get him the managerial paperwork that you need. Because Rick Ross not only shoulder leaned Tony Schiavone,
yeah,
he was so smooth as a fucking man, as sort
so
of a
good.
Manager-esque role between Swerve and Our Glory. That was
so good.
Awesome.
It was so good. It was so good. Anyways, back to Jeff Jarrett. Once I saw him show up, I think the reaction was,
I'm trying to remember what my, like, I saw, because you see the hat.
Yeah, as soon as I saw the hat,
and
the guitar. Once you see the guitar, you know
the guitar, yeah. I saw that. Sort of the hat
Jarrett
caught my eye first because I was in the kitchen. And I don't know. I don't mind Jarrett these days. I know what you're saying, but that's AEW, baby. They bring people in. More people are catered. No Eddie Kingston tonight. Where was he? I don't know. But we had Jeff Jarrett out there. I mean, it is what it is, you know. But I don't know. It's Jeff Jarrett. I don't know how much wrestling is going to be doing. That's just sort of AEW's thing, though. Like, that's what we've sort of learned now after this time, is they just bring people, they cycle people in, cycle people out, and it's just a never-ending, constant, you know, headlong fall into WCW 2000, man. Next up.
I guess they're bringing the perfect person then, if that's the trajectory.
There's one more perfect person they could bring, bro.
Well, there's actually another one too. Scott Steiner.
Oh man, yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, Robin's got it right. I'm here for WCW 2.0. I don't know. Like I said, it is what it is. Full Gear is going to be an absolute mess again. Tony Khan doesn't really learn. It's going to be like 16, 17 matches on that card.
I know. It really is. It really is. It is interesting because by and large, I think from like for a good chunk of the middle of this year, pretty much ever since Punk beat Hangman, so much of AEW TV just felt like, and it hasn't necessarily been as enjoyable as it has been previously, but it's not like it's a huge dire situation. Just creatively, it just wasn't hitting all cylinders. There was a lot of matches that weren't necessarily creatively motivated, which again, in isolated instances, isn't a problem. Sometimes you just have matches happen. That's fine, as long as there's like a macro story you're telling. Anyways, I feel like the last couple episodes of Dynamite, they're really honing in more, at least having stories motivate matches and having stories come out of matches. Not saying they're all great, but I think the focus on trying to imbue each little segment of the show with story is on the upswing. Now, if we can just, tighten up some of the creative, more than one women's match on the show, please. Less Jeff Jarrett, then we're getting somewhere. All right, friendos, let's take a quick break here. This episode of Going in Raw is brought to you by BetterHelp. I've spoken about it before, but there was a time in my life where I was getting really overwhelmed by life's challenges and started dealing with severe anxiety. And because of that, I got to the point where I realized that I needed to go to therapy.
Therapists are trained to help you figure out the cause of challenging emotions and learn productive coping skills, which makes therapy the nearest thing to a guided tour of the complex engine called you.
Yeah, that's true, Steve. And while it took me a while to find someone I felt comfortable talking to, once I did, I was able to learn the tools I needed to better cope with my anxiety. And as the world's largest therapy service, BetterHelp has matched 3 million people with professionally licensed and vetted therapists Available 100% online. Plus, it's affordable.
Just fill out a brief questionnaire to match with a therapist. If things aren't clicking, you can easily switch to a new therapist anytime. It couldn't be simpler.
No waiting rooms, no traffic, no endless searching for the right therapist. Learn more and save 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/raw. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw.
And before we get back to the show, let's get a word in from our sponsor, ExpressVPN. You know, Larson,
What's that, Steve?
using the internet without ExpressVPN is like using the bathroom with the door open. You never know who's going to walk by and take a picture of you while you're dumping out.
Well, a crude analogy, but I see your point, Steve. See, here in the U.S., your internet service provider know every single website you visit, and then they could sell that information to ad companies, tech giants, who then use that data to target you. And I can't stand it when I'm searching the internet for something like, I don't know, protein bars, and then I'm just inundated with ads everywhere I go online for protein bars.
That's why.
Too much.
It is too much. But that's why I use ExpressVPN, because it protects you from all that, because it creates a secure, encrypted tunnel between your device, whether it's your phone, laptop, heck, even your router, and the internet. So that those ad companies and tech giants can't peep over your shoulder to everything you're doing online, man. ExpressVPN is super easy to use, too. You just got to fire up the app, click one button to connect.
No wonder ExpressVPN is rated #1 by Business Insider and The Verge. So secure your online activity today at expressvpn.com/GIR and get an extra 3 months of ExpressVPN free. That's expressvpn.com/GIR. expressvpn.com/GIR.
It's kind of fascinating to see, because honestly, these days I kind of don't know what to make of it. It's got its constant thing of like, there was even a sign tonight of like, more than, we want more than one women's match on Dynamite. So that's just a thing. Again, unfortunately, it's just a staple of AEW. I mean, I guess if you want to look at it half full, there was a match plus 2 segments. There was like a weird interview thing. And then a Tony Storm, Jamie Hayter video where it seems like the crux of their feud is, we lived together and now she's not my friend anymore. And Jamie Hayter's like, I thought you were supposed to be my friend, but I didn't change, you did, which is kind of silly. But it's not substantial in the least, which is disappointing. But this, again, it's just sort of like AEW is on this weird kick of, I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if what I had said about Cody in the past was, if there was something to be said there, or if it's just a matter. I mean, I've said this before too. You kind of scoffed at me once when I said Tony Khan. Well, you've scoffed at me many times. It's kind of our relationship. But
yeah, you got to be more specific.
I do.
One time I did it.
When I had said something along the lines of, Tony Khan has 2 other full, he's running Fulham FC. He's like the Jaguars head of analytics or whatever he is.
Something like that, yeah.
Which are 2 jobs that probably should be dedicated to an entire team or something, like somebody full-time doing those. And then you would sort of laughed and said, are you saying that his wrestling pursuits are like a low priority? Maybe not the business of the wrestling, but I do believe that creatively speaking, there leaves a little bit to be desired. And maybe that's just because, hey, he's like 150 weeks into weekly television now. And kind of what his go-to is not like, look at the Garcia stuff. 3 weeks ago, I thought the Garcia stuff was great. Mm-hmm. And then he just goes back. And you and I were like, oh, he's going to swerve them again. I don't think he's going to. I don't think there's some big swerve on the horizon. I think he just did that for a story for a second, and then he's putting them back to have Jericho Appreciation Society feud with those guys again. I don't think that's the case.
I mean, I think the main event, the close of the main event tonight was really kind of a microcosm of, maybe some aspects of AEW creative being Tony Khan's last priority, because every segment involving Joe, Wardlow, the embassy, it all ends the same way.
Yeah.
Every single one.
Yeah.
It's all a big brawl, and then people come running in. They alternate who stands tall each week, essentially. and it's not really building. It's not building really. I mean, it's cool that Hobbs is going to get a shot at against Wardlow for the TNT title. I hope Hobbs wins.
But there's not even a story there.
No, I don't know.
He just showed up on Rampage, which is fine. You show up and you attack a guy. That's a tried and true wrestling trope.
Yeah, but then from there you're supposed to give us the why. I know the why is he just wants the title, but there should be some aspect of it that makes it personal.
He did the same thing tonight that he did on Rampage.
Yeah,
it was the same thing.
Yep.
So I just think that with wrestling, you gotta give us the stories, and for a while it was like, well, Jericho's like the only guy who's and still to this day, Jericho's still like the guy trying to tell a story. Now he's got the trope where he's wrestling all the Ring of Honor guys, which isn't even really a story. I thought the Garcia stuff was a lot stronger, and then they just dropped that. He went back to Jericho, and that's it. So yeah, I don't know. It is. Look, I don't think it's WCW 2000. I don't think it's that.
No, I don't think so.
I'm sure look, number one, I did not watch a lot of WCW 2000. I've seen the greatest hits basically. But it's not like Tony Khan is out there winning the world title himself. He still has a hell of a talented cast. Watch a year from now. That'll be the case. But and the Elite's on their way back. That's going to be fun. But again, returns and debuts. That's what they have. Yeah. And you got to give us some stories.
I know.
You got to give us some stories.
The worst of Vince's creative droughts that was the thing. It was returns, debuts, moments, not stories. Just give us moments. That's what Vince was doing. And now it seems like that's kind of the rut that Tony Khan has gotten into. I mean, yeah, there's a little more story going on, I feel like, or, a little bit just to motivate matches. A little bit. Or a little bit more story coming out of matches than there was maybe 6-8 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And that's a step in the right direction. However, that's just one step. And I feel like if they want to start hitting on as close to all cylinders, like a year ago, the show was pretty good on a regular basis.
Yeah, but look at what was going on a year ago.
Oh, I know. I understand. They weren't dealing with the injuries or the suspensions.
Well, no, I'm saying returns and debuts was a year ago, which would carry you so far. But then look what they did. And I know there was injuries going on then, but it's like after Hangman won that title.
That's what I was going to reference. That was the story in the company, and it was good stuff.
Once he won the title, though, up till then, yes, that was a good story because I'm pretty sure, wouldn't shock me if that was basically Hangman and Kenny and them sort of plotting out those beats. And if Tony Khan was heavily involved with that, kudos to him because it was good stuff. Once he won, they had an opportunity to do more. Like, I know he had 2 matches against Adam Cole, but the story beats really weren't there. It was just, let's have these matches. And I felt like something far deeper could have taken place then. And it just didn't. And then Punk came back, and I feel like Punk, again, probably of his own device, orchestrated the story of I'm having a difficult time against these lesser opponents. Eventually, he learned how to wrestle again. They transitioned to the story of why is your face like that? Who? It was out of focus, so it took me a second. Oh, no. Jeff Jarrett is all elite. He got the graphic confirmed there by Larson, who no doubt got on Twitter and saw it.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't read the caption. It says, DLW here says, according to Tony Khan on Twitter, Jeff Jarrett is AEW Director of Business Development.
Oh, there you go. Okay, right on. Well, there you go.
Oh, looks like he's doing live events.
That's what he did in WWE.
It says here, I look forward to expanding the AEW live events calendar in 2023 and future years with Double J.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I wonder if that means...
House shows,
live events.
AEW, Saturday Night Sizzle. Shit like that. Who knows?
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Anyways, I know. I'm not sitting here with rose-colored glasses saying that, even just a year ago, AEW was like the peak of wrestling creative, because it wasn't. It was more. I felt like a more consistent show, and I understand the debuts with Cole and Danielson, but I felt like there was that. Plus, there were stories.
Yeah, the Hangman stuff was really strong.
The Hangman stuff was really good. There
were
stories, and you're right. After Hangman won the title, it kind of felt like, well, we don't really know what to do with Paige now. And then the focus kind of turned to Punk's stories, namely his story earlier this year with MJF.
Yeah.
Which, again, was good stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it seems like when there is an A story, like right now with MJF and Mox and the Firm, generally the A story, if it's solid material, it's generally pretty good stuff because usually there's really good talents behind it.
What did we always used to say too? And this is true of WWE right now. Granted, not everything WWE is great right now, but if you have a solid main story and A story, it sort of like trickles down through the rest of the show. It sort of makes everything else kind of falls in line behind that. Right now, WWE's got a really good A story. Might be an all-time A story with the Bloodline stuff, and then you see a lot of the other stuff sort of fall in place, and it works.
And I feel like that happens more so on SmackDown, but that's obviously that's the Bloodline's primary home.
Yeah. Well, Raw's also it's 3 hours.
3 hours. I know it is a bit hit or miss.
Yeah,
much more so than SmackDown is.
Anyways, it started off with Darby Allin versus Jay Lethal. Darby Allin was rocking some of that DDP rib tape, man.
Yeah, Jay
Lethal went after that immediately.
I did like he pinned him under the barricade and put on a figure 4, even though it was a good 1.5 inches between Darby's midsection at the bottom of the barricade. But I appreciate the image though, harkening back to the garage.
Nothing beats the garage because he started tapping out.
You started tapping on the garage.
That was the best. Great. That was the best. So yeah. Anyways, what was the end here?
Of course, Jay and Sanjay were saying, "Hey, we know someone that." Has given us Darby's weakness, and so I did like the spot where Darby's going for the suicide dive on Satnam Singh, and he just bounces right off. Just bounces right off. So, anyways, the ref is distracted because he threw Satnam and Sanjay out of the ringside area. Someone dressed as Sting hits Darby with the bat, puts him in the ring. Jay hits lethal injection to get the win. Fake Sting gets in the ring. Jay unmasks him as Colt Carter, and everybody's like, "All right."
Oh, that was the biggest fart of a reveal. Because at first I was like, it took me a second. I was like, oh, that's Tony Gianzolo's guy. Yeah, two dimes. Yeah.
And so Sting's music plays, and everybody's expecting Sting to make the save. But instead, Sting's not coming. You look, in the background, because you have Sanjay and Jay and Satnam staring up the ramp. In the background, Jarrett gets in the ring, hits Darby with the guitar. So then Jeff grabs the mic, says, "Darby, you just got a lesson from the last outlaw. Darby, whatever you worship, that becomes your weakness. You want to worship Sting, it's become obvious that Sting has become your weakness. Now that you are out of the way, I've got a message for the entire AEW roster, for commentary, for production, but most importantly, it goes to the insane, rabid, delusional AEW fan base. My family got into the wrestling business in 1946 for over 75 years. Wherever the Jarretts went, they left an impact."
Yeah, man.
He says he lists off a bunch of his accolades. Says, "I'm a 2-time Hall of Famer, 12-time world champion. I can assure you from day one, my family's fingerprints have been all over AEW. But I can assure you that when I'm done with this place, there's going to be full body bags, and you can choke on that, Slapnuts."
That's probably not good if he's the head of your business development, live events and stuff. That's probably not, like, you don't want body bags. Maybe he just means metaphorically.
I don't think that's good for business.
Still, even metaphorically speaking, that's terrible for business.
Not good for business.
Slap nuts. Anyways, that's exciting stuff. After that, hey, you know what, man? Well, here's the thing. Like, as a shoot, like him taking over some of it, more shit off Tony Khan's plate. Yeah, that's a good thing. But him taking up TV time for some non-Double J fans, probably not. Anyways, after that, we had a recap package for MJF and the Firm stuff that involved Mox. Mox versus Moriarty was tonight. We got a Mox promo. He says, "Oh, yeah, I love the energy of Baltimore. It's just another night for me. But for Lee, it's the biggest night of his life. He changed his fortunes forever if he can get that win tonight." Lee feels snubbed by the Blackpool Combat Club. We didn't snub him. He and me and Danielson decided Lee isn't mean enough, not violent enough. But tonight I'm going to give Lee a lesson in pain, and Lee will have to dig down deep to that place where bad intentions lie. There's only one way out, Lee, and that's through me. I want you to be mean, nasty, and violent. I don't have time for anything else. And then he leaves.
Yeah, he leaves. Then we get another one of those Elite video packages. So there's a replay of the Elite winning the Trios titles. And then the video is paused, and we're in the editing bay.
Well, yeah, we're in the editing bay. Yeah, we got like
the editing
premiere,
bay.
Yeah.
And so then that clip deleted from the timeline. Poof.
Whoa,
Replaced with footage of Death Triangle winning the trios titles, and then we go to a graphic of like a show poster essentially. The Elite, they get
dithered away,
replaced by Death Triangle, and the AEW logo shows up again and dithered away.
I mean, it's just going to be like the Elite getting the titles back at Full Gear. They're just going to come. They're just going to do that match. They're going to come back.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, let's rewrite history.
I guess so.
After that, we had Jon Moxley versus Lee Moriarty. Mox is great because whenever he wrestles anybody, it's clear he lets them get tons of their shit in. And that's what we got tonight from Lee Moriarty. It was a hell of a moment there for Lee Moriarty.
Yeah, it was. In the end, Mox gets the win here with a armbar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he makes him tap out.
Yeah, so Ethan Page was on commentary throughout this match. Afterwards, after Lee taps, he slams the headset on the desk, runs to the ring, and just boots Mox. I thought there would be more of a beatdown from Ethan Page here. But he just hit a boot and then just stood there.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a good point. I don't know. Maybe they thought there were too many post-match full-on beatdowns.
Well, I mean, that would be a good point.
Because there were a lot.
There always is a lot.
That is true. It's how they tell stories. I liked Paige on commentary too, because there were moments when he was like, Lee, stick to the arm. It was our plan. He's like getting frustrated with Lee's game plan here or going away from it. I thought that was good. I like the spotlight for Ethan Page, keeping him away. I know Lee's his dude in the firm and everything, but it's not like he had a bunch of other dudes crowding him. The focus was on him, and that's good for Ethan Page. We've been crowing about that for a while, and he deserves that. He deserves to talk and talk and talk, And
I like that when he was on commentary, it wasn't his pro wrestler voice.
Yeah, right, yeah.
He was using his voice.
Yeah, totally.
That's pretty cool.
After that, so they've been hyping up this Renee Paquette interview with Saraya and Britt Baker. Well, Britt wasn't there, and so it was just Renee and Saraya. And Saraya's like, I know what it takes to be a star. She says, Britt doesn't care about anybody apart from herself. So when I got into this business, I had to wrestle the same day I got hit by a car. Said I had to build divisions everywhere I went. She said, there's something special about AEW. She's like, when I saw it, I told myself I'd love to be a part of this. It was like the rebellious company. She says, once the timing came around, she said, it was perfect. I thought I could give something to help elevate the women's division. And then Renee asked, okay, well, that's the elephant in the room. What is it, spinal stenosis or whatever. She says, what is your current medical status? And Paige pauses and says, I'm going to wait until next week to answer that. There's one more doctor I want to consult with about that.
So which wrestling doctor is that going to be?
At first I just thought she was referring to Britt Baker, like not about her, not to get another opinion, but like I want to make sure she knows that I'm fully cleared and ready to go in person when I knock her out, when I lay her out.
Sense. I was trying to think of what wrestling doctor, like is Dr. Tom Pritchard going to get out there?
That's where my head went. And I saw people saying,
Dr. Wagner
Who's
Jr.
The doctor? Yeah, hey, let me take a look at your spine. You look bueno. Perfecto.
Hopefully, I wanted to be the doctor from AAA that was cutting dude's hair.
Oh, what about Dr. Simi?
Yeah, Dr. Simi. That's right. It needs to be Dr. Simi.
Anyways, after that, we had a Regal interview. He says, after what I witnessed last week, it showed me Max has all the potential in the world. He has a long way to go to be a full villain. Full gear. All that potential is going to help him become champ. Because when you become champ, when he has to face a real demon, John Mox.
That fool's totally going to turn on Mox.
Because before he started talking, he was looking at his fist.
Yeah. And he came out with it. They're making such a heavy emphasis on him now. Like I don't think he usually comes with Mox through the crowd.
Nope.
And he did this time. He's keeping an eye on Mox, man.
Yep.
After that, this was a lot of fun. We had Daddy Ass's birthday celebration. The Acclaim, they're getting tons of TV time. They're super over. Mm-hmm. So Bowens first gets on the mic, says it's been tough for us all. I'm trying to remember what Caster's rap referenced. I think Twitter's buyout, the Elon Musk deal, I think.
I thought it referenced Elon wanting people pay to keep the blue check.
Okay, that's what it was. Okay, maybe that's what it was, yeah. So anyways, Bowen says it's been a tough for us all because last Friday, Swerve did some damage to Daddy Ass's fingers and now he can't scissor. And scissoring has taken over the world, but of course we can't have a Daddy Ass birthday bash without scissoring, which is why we're starting things off with gift number 1. They had a table there with a bunch of gifts. And so the Acclaim now has these awesome foam fingers that are, for scissoring. Mm-hmm. And Caster says, there's a lot of great signs here, a lot of Acclaim shirts, all to celebrate Daddy Ass. AEW really does stand for Acclaimed every Wednesday. And then Bowen says, everybody loves the Acclaim and everybody loves Daddy Ass. He says, who brought Daddy Ass a gift? He asks to see some of the signs out there, and Caster goes to the floor, and this kid brought this really awesome sort of giant scissor sign, and then Caster gives it over, gives some shine to the kid. Caster gives it to Billy, and so, happy birthday. And then Bowen says, but we're not done. Billy's been in the business for 30 years and accomplished a lot. He's an 11-time tag champion. He's a Hall of Famer, a stand-up guy. And then he's the world's greatest daddy. So Caster presents him with a trophy that says world's greatest dad, and they wrote DY at the end, so it says daddy. And then Bowen says, we've got one final thing. He says, we had so much planned. We had a bunch of guests. 2 canceled, and the rest were upset that Billy didn't go to the reunion. Yeah, and then the camera missed it, but you see Billy, he did a crotch chop that cracked everybody up. But of course, they moved to Caster right as he's about to. It was accidental, but yeah, I thought that was pretty. Everybody got a big kick out of that. He said, and this seemed pretty legit. He says, you've been a mentor, a father figure, and for the final gift. He says, we had to file a bunch of paperwork, and he had a certificate of adoption. He says, both me and Caster have signed. All it needs is your signature. I'm just thinking to myself, he can't even make scissors with his fingers. Yeah, how is he going to sign a thing? They're all messed up. So anyways, he's about to sign it, and then the Ass Boys show up. Because, Billy Gunn's like, oh, I get to be your daddy? And then the Ass Boys interrupt. They come to the stage. Says, did our invitation get lost in the mail? Says, Dad, we're your sons. He says, even though we didn't get invited, we got you a gift. And then the Acclaimed are laid out from behind by W. Morrissey. The Ass Boys come down to join the beatdown. FTR makes the save. And then the firm leaves. FTR picks up the tag titles. And they hand them back over to the Acclaimed.
Yep. Then we got a Britt Baker interview. She says, this is my interview. My people, because Tony Schiavone's doing it. My time. Jamie's there as well. And she's talking about being the victim of this conspiracy for so long. And Jamie says, yeah, I'm sick of this conspiracy too. I just want to wrestle. Britt says, I just want to wrestle too. So find us a tag team to wrestle on Rampage.
Yeah. After that, we had Chris Jericho. First up, we had a promo from him before we got the reveal of the opponent. He said, last week after Claudio took a tainted victory over the Ocho, made me mad. Now I'm ready for an open challenge tonight against former Ring of Honor champ, world champ, tag champ, pure champ, women's champ. I don't care. I'll even whoop Lamar Jackson's ass. Lamar Jackson was in attendance. Mm-hmm. He says, so tonight is going to be another monumental night in the ring of the moment in the ring of the Jericho era. All honor of the Ocho. Who's it going to be? And it's Colt Cabana.
Boom, boom.
Boom, boom.
Colt Cabana. Fun match. Jericho got the win here with the code breaker. Counters a flying apple, I believe, to get that code breaker. Earlier on, though, looked like Colt had this match won. He hit the Superman pin. He has to kind of brace himself up like a plank or a push-up to get leverage on that pin. Hager comes over, swipes his hands out from underneath him to break up the pin. And then, he gets back in the ring looking for that flying apple. Jericho hits code breaker to get the W.
Yep.
Systematic cheating.
Yep. After that, Jericho, Hager, and Garcia walk up the ramp. And Ian from commentary stands up. 2.0 grabs him from behind. Jericho's about to give that guy juice effect. He took off his glasses and he crushed him. It was like Superman 3.
Yeah.
He put him on first. It was kind of funny. And then he throws him. And then Claudio comes out of nowhere to make the save. He gets overwhelmed by the Jericho Appreciation Society. Danielson runs out to join the fight. Sammy comes out too. He's followed by Wheeler Yuta. And then security comes out to separate everybody.
Yep. Just a big brawl. Pretty common occurrence on Dynamite. After that, we had Renee interviewing Death Triangle. She asked Phoenix how he feels in advance of his match tonight. The possibility of becoming a double champ. And of course, Pac, former double champ, is just over there stewing.
Oh, yeah.
He is. It's almost after like how he was after he lost the Cruiserweight title in WWE. So Phoenix says, I feel happy. I feel ready because tonight I'm going to be the new All-Atlantic champion. And Pac goes, oh, may I interject here for a moment as someone who knows something about being a double champ? If you want real revenge for Death Triangle, and I know last time, it was your prerogative. You didn't do it. But tonight, this hammer could be your golden ticket.
It could be the golden ticket.
Choice is yours. Just something to think about.
Yeah, but if you don't do what Pac wants you to do, he's probably going to be surly about it.
Yes.
And then we had Luchasaurus versus Rey Fenix versus Orange Cassidy. You had mentioned this, I think, during the pre-show. Maybe it was during the show. You felt this should have been the main event. Yeah, this was such a good match, and it's for an AEW title.
And then the end bit with Shibata coming out.
Oh, God, yeah, with Shibata coming out. Yeah.
Should have been the main event.
Yeah,
should have been the main event. Rather, we love Samoa Joe here at Going in Raw.
Yeah.
I understand that Baltimore is the home of Ring of Honor, so I get if they want to main event the show with the Ring of Honor title. That being said, the match ended in the post-match angle with that we'd seen on Rampage already.
We had just seen that finish on Rampage. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a new thing. Shibata felt like it should have main event. Anyway, it was a really fun match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was great.
Phoenix and Cassidy several times were working together to try to get Luchasaurus out of there. At one point, they're up on the let me find my thing here. Luchasaurus is looking to chokeslam Orange Cassidy onto the pyro grate on the stage, the same place where he powerbombed, I believe, Jungle Boy. So Jungle Boy comes through the tunnel, blasts Luchasaurus with the chair. Christian, who was on commentary, leaves to come over there. Well, Jungle Boy chases him back through the tunnel, comes back out, splashes Luchasaurus off the stage through a table on the floor. So Luchasaurus is out of the rest of the
That was a crazy spot, too. It was kind of scary because the way the table snapped, it looked like it was going to snap, like it was going to hit Jungle Boy right in the head. And it seems like it missed by like inches. He was fine. He got up fairly quickly and started like high-fiving people in the crowd. So
he did.
He was okay.
So then we get Phoenix and Orange 101. Phoenix is on the floor. Pac runs down to ringside. He's imploring Phoenix, use the hammer.
Mm-hmm.
Use the hammer. So at first, Phoenix takes it, gets on the apron, and then he throws it down. Says no. Gets in the ring. He gets rolled up by Orange Cassidy. Phoenix reverses that into a roll-up of his own, gets a 2. Phoenix looking for a rolling cutter. Orange counters with the orange punch to get the win. Pac hits the ring after the bell. He's looking for the hammer. Gets it. Gets back on the ring. And then Shibata's music hits.
Mm-hmm.
And so Shibata, Rocky Romero, and Best Friends, they come down to the ring. Pac leaves. Orange picks up the All-Atlantic title, the All-Atlantic Dream Match contract for Atlantic City on Rampage. Shibata points to the title. Orange hands Shibata the contract and a pen. Shibata signs it. It's going to be pretty great.
That's going to be really good stuff. It always cracks me up whenever I remember that Shibata's music is so mellow.
But then it really kicks in.
It kicks in. But the beginning, it's like you're not making any saves with that thing right there.
No.
That shit's hilarious. It's so peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways.
Do-do-do-do.
Yeah.
Do-do-do-do.
Yeah. Do-do-do.
And then it goes with like the punk beat.
Yeah. This was amazing.
This was probably the highlight of the
evening. Yeah. Rick Ross had an interview. Swerve in Our Glory. Tony Schiavone was conducting the interview. Rick Ross started out with a shoulder lean on Tony Schiavone. He asks, why did Swerve do what he did? And Rick's like, hey, we're all here about positivity. We're here to make sure that Swerve is the biggest star in wrestling and the largest recording star in the world. And then Keith Lee walks in and says, hey, you didn't respond, talking to Swerve, you didn't respond to my calls and texts. He's the number one contenders, but Swerve cheated against Billy Gunn. Rick Ross shouts,
accusations. False accusations.
Accusations. Oh man. So yeah, and he asked. So wait, was this Keith Lee? Because I was cracking up. Yeah.
Keith Lee asked Swerve who was behind the camera when you assaulted Billy. He wants to know who's the camera person, and Swerve just kind of doesn't really answer that question. Says, "Hey, we're about positivity here. I think that's what it was. Let's team up, 8-man tag, 2 of us against Gun Club." And Keith Lee's like, "The heck? I don't want to team with Gun Club against Acclaimed and FTR." And then Rick Ross is like, "Hey, let's all toast. There's champagne there and everything."
Yeah, right.
So they all end up toasting.
Keep Rick Ross around, man.
Awesome.
Shout out all the pair.
Man, it was
Meeting
awesome.
lots of pairs and shit now. Shout out to all the pair. Yeah, that was great. So, like, why didn't Swerve just say, "Oh, that was just an AEW cameraman"? Like, that's who I figured it was. I didn't have any questions about that. Whoever asked who was running camera? What? Same people always run camera. AEW camera people.
Doug from production.
Claudio cameraman. Who fucking knows? Who cares? What's the point? Stop asking questions. Accusations.
False accusations.
Yeah.
Then we got Marina Shafir versus Jade Cargill. This match was pretty short. The bell rings and Nyla's music hits, and it distracted Jade for a moment. Mm-hmm. But then she gets back to the match with Marina. But Nyla and Vicky come out to the stage, and Nyla says, "Hey, commentary, you can take a break. We're going to handle this match." And so her and Vicky do commentary, saying things to try to distract Jade. Like, "Hey, don't get distracted by the fact that TBS title is around my waist," stuff like that. At one point, Jade starts to go up to the ramp. Nyla says, "You're so obsessed with numbers, you better pay attention to the rest count." So Jade rushes back to the ring, eventually hits a pump kick Jade to get the win. And afterwards, Kiera Hogan tries to grab the TBS title from Nyla. Nyla lays her out and takes her leave backstage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's all silly stuff, but Nyla's so damn good.
Oh, I know.
She's so hilarious. Like, it's hard not to be entertained by this stuff. It's
entertained.
It's very sports entertainment, though. After that, we had this House of Black promo that was exceedingly well done.
It was really well done.
So the premise is everybody.
It was like Ricky Starks directed it.
I wouldn't go that far, but it was getting there.
It was really good.
The premise is the House of Black, except for Julia, they're all dead because Julia and these I don't know, monks or whatever, these cloaked gentlemen show up, and they're in this place, and all 3 members of House of Black are like dead, and they're all like in these white sheets.
They're getting prepared for
burials.
Yes.
There's 3 burials. There's one by water. There's one by fire, which is just, it's a cremation. And then there's a proper burial, an actual burial, like in the dirt. And that's kind of it.
The voiceover was awesome.
I don't know who did the voiceover, but it was great. It was very much gravitas to it.
Yeah.
It was really fantastic. What do you make? I mean, they always do this kind of shit, but they end up feuding with like QT Marshall or something like that.
I know. I mean, the gist is, I guess, they're getting prepared for burial. It's time for rebirth.
Yeah, right.
That's kind of what the voiceover was alluding to.
Yeah.
So I would imagine we're going to get several more video packages. And I guess the key is then, if they come back after a series of hopefully really awesome video packages, get them in a feud of consequence.
Yeah, have them take on the embassy.
And actually if you go through a feud with the House of Black, you're changed afterwards.
Yeah.
Is it? You're never the same.
Is it? I mean, they really need to give it the good try this time. Because here's the thing, you say that and it sounds cool, but it's like nobody's going to believe that. Nobody's going to believe that they're of consequence because they've done jack off. They've done jack all, jack off. I was going to say jack off. They fucking jacked off. They've all bricked up. They haven't done anything.
I know.
Like the lasting image I think of with House of Black is Fuego. And I know that was not the entirety of what they've done. Like, especially right after Malachi took his leave, there was a stint with Brody doing some cool stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not trying to defend House of Black's creative because I'm not, because it was going nowhere. After Ray Phoenix got hurt, that kind of torpedoed their feud with Death Triangle. Pac wasn't there all that often. And I don't know why they thought, let's feud with, or why Tony Khan thought, hey, let's feud with Fuego for 4 months was a good idea to do in the meantime. But I'm just curious what would have happened had, no injury to Phoenix and whatnot. If that hadn't happened, how things might have been different. They might not have been different. Still might have been underwhelming. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know that I'm giving at this point AEW the benefit of the doubt to think that would be anything but underwhelming. It's possible they could have been the runners up to the trios titles instead of Death Triangle. Maybe had Brawl Out still happened and they were able to get that feud, they would have been in the position to get those trios titles. I don't know, but it's like, man, how is it that that Malachi Black isn't a perpetual main eventer? I know. Like he should have been in WWE and should have been. I don't know. Maybe we're just wrong about that. Maybe he doesn't belong anywhere near the main events. And I don't know. I see it though. I've always seen it in him, but I don't know.
I have to.
I don't know.
He's got a level of mystique that you don't see very often in the world of professional wrestling.
I know, and he cares so much about the creative. Like the man cares about everything, all the creative stuff that he does.
All the little details, yeah.
So anyways, then we had a Tony Storm, Jamie Hayter confirmed for Full Gear, a video package thing where Tony Storm said that they had roomed together for a spell during pandemic, and they grew pretty close. She referred to her as a best friend at one point, and then she got to AEW. Jamie did, and then Tony did, and then Tony was like, she changed, and then they cut to Jamie Hayter saying, "What do you mean I changed? No, I didn't change." And then she's like, "Oh, I guess she's friends with Britt now." She's like, "Oh,"
she says she's not my friend anymore. She's Britt friend.
Yeah,
Britt's friend.
She's Britt friend. So yeah, they got a match though. I don't know what you do with this. There's not a whole lot of story. Tony's still not even the world champion. She's the interim world champion.
I know.
And then what do? You have Hayter take this title and Thunder Rosa comes back? And you use that real life shit apparently.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be pretty surprised if Hayter were to win the interim title. I'm guessing they'll use this as a catalyst to really go with the Hayter Britt feud.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and then out of that, maybe they'll have Hayter win the title. Anyways, excuse me. Main event time. Brian Cage taking on Samoa Joe for the Ring of Honor TV title. Samoa Joe gets the win here. They're both phenomenal wrestlers.
Oh, yeah.
Cage did a couple things. I was like, how the heck did he do that?
Yeah. That pump handle thing that he did to Joe, where like Joe's head was like 6 inches of not even that away. That was scary. Yeah, it was scary.
But like that weird elbow drop that Cage did where he jumped and like twisted around midair to drop the elbow.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Anyways, Joe ends up getting the win. Puts the clutch on Cage to get the W. Embassy hit the ring to attack Joe. Wardlow comes out to make the save. Embassy leave. Hobbs hits Wardlow with a spine buster. Holds the TNT title over Wardlow to close the show.
Yeah. I kind of want to go back to your Rampage notes and see how you wrote that then. If it's like the exact same thing.
Just throw us some questions and I'll
all right. So we got a questions thread here on the Patreon at patreon.com/Steve and Larson. Alex Foster here says, do you guys think AEW's backstage problems could affect their relationship with New Japan? I do not. I don't see how that would be the thing.
So this is how the close of Rampage happened. Hobbs walks down the ramp. Embassy attacks Joe. Hobbs joins in the attack. Then he picks up the TNT title, but also Brian Cage picked up the Ring of Honor TV title, and they were both holding him up as the show closed. Okay,
all right. Lots of the same words being used there. Yes. Dave Matushek, do you think it's possible to see parallels between AEW this year and the 2000s WCW since Jeff Jarrett showed up, or is it just my imagination? I mean, we did talk about it early in the show. WCW 2000 it was really, really bad. But, yeah. I mean, one of the parallels that you could, I don't want to be too harsh on things, but like one of the parallels you could think of is WCW did a damn good job in 2000 of devaluing their titles. Like, I forget what the number was.
It was like 12 title changes or something like that. Or was it more than that?
I swear it was 18 in the year. There was like a 12-month span when it changed. The world title changed 18 times. That's what I think it was that.
It was vacated
crazy.
like 2 or 3 times. It was.
I know. Well, it was definitely vacated when Benoit left. And then
so starting in 2000, here I'll count.
Yeah.
So it was vacated by Brett
because of the Goldberg thing.
To start the year.
Okay.
So it was vacated.
It's not my fault. It was Goldberg's.
Like the following day. It was vacated 3 times in the month of January.
It was oh my God.
And
was that
April,
one of them was Benoit's?
Yeah, Benoit was January 16th of 2000.
What was the other? What were the other ones then?
So Brett vacated it. Benoit won it that day. It was vacated. That he had to vacate the next day.
Yeah, right.
Sid won it. Vacated it the following day. Sid won it a day later. Had to vacate it on April 10th, and then it wasn't vacated again until Flair won it on May 15th, and a week later, Russo stripped him of the title.
Oh my!
So how many times was it vacated in that year already? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
By what date?
5 times by May 22nd.
It was vacated on average once a month. That's horrible.
And then it was vacated again in October of 2000.
Oh my goodness gracious. I mean, and so when people say with AEW, now look, it obviously isn't that. But the fact that AEW has so many titles, and granted, half of them at this point are Ring of Honor titles, I can understand, and I don't necessarily agree that it devalues the titles, but I understand the sentiment that it does when you have like a title for everything. Let's see here. Dog Authority figure says clearly Bray and Jericho are on the Mount Rushmore of reinventing their characters. Who are the other two? Who else is on the Mount? This is a
Matt
good
Hardy.
question. Oh yeah, he's like whoever the top guy is on Rushmore, or the largest
19
one.
19 different title reigns in.
It was
2000.
19. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, 19.
I thought I was
doesn't
wrong with
include
18.
times where it was vacated. That's just different people that won at different times.
Wow.
Yeah, I'd say Matt Hardy be on there.
Matt Hardy's
Jericho,
a great
you
answer.
got Bray, you got Matt Hardy, and
you could say. Well, I don't know. He had Itchweed in the other one, Jeff Hardy. You could say Jeff Hardy.
yeah, Willow.
Well. Punk was pretty good whenever he would have a character change. He did the straight edge society stuff. He was the leader of New Nexus.
Let's say Jeff Jarrett.
Oh, Seth Rollins is a good answer.
Yeah. Oh, Foley. Foley's a good answer.
Foley literally reinvented.
Had 3 different characters at one time.
That's a bit different, though. Undertaker for riding a motorcycle. The Usos for dropping the bright colors. Yeah. I think Seth is probably going to be on there at the end of the day.
Yeah, it seems possible.
Let's see here. Blake Whitehouse, which top star from Impact would have the highest ceiling in AEW?
Jordan Grace.
Yeah, that was my first answer too. Although I might think it could be Sami Callihan. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
You don't get to do half his crazy stuff.
I just wanted to do his voice.
Yeah, no.
Frozen Tape said if the 24/7 title was booked like the briefcase in No Country for Old Men.
Wow.
Could you see it getting over? What? Like there's a murderer coming after you with a pressure pump? Hold still. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if somebody is, if there's a legit murderer coming after you, it sort of goes beyond wrestling.
It definitely ups the urgency of the situation. Yeah.
I mean, if they had segments filmed like that, sure, yeah, add all sorts of Coen Brothers tension to it. That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Boy, what a terrifying! God damn, that movie's so good.
It's really good.
Luis Reyes says, would AEW benefit from a difference in weight classes like New Japan does? Cruisers, juniors, heavyweights.
No.
I don't. I've never been a fan of that. I like there being some sort of like fancy, cool wrestling division like Impact has, the X division. I like that.
Yeah.
But I like, because how are you going to tell your awesome, David and Goliath stories? You know, you got a little dude fighting a big dude. That's cool stuff. Like Gracie back in the early UFCs taking on those big 400-pounders. That shit was cool, man.
And beating them all.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Yellow Flash asks, how would you book the return of the Elite? We actually did that on an episode of Overrun.
We did.
Last week?
Yeah, last Thursday.
Last Thursday. You could check it out there. Moses Opposes says, what is the funniest wrestling debut you've seen?
Shockmaster.
Shockmaster, clearly. I mean, maybe that's too obvious of an answer. So if we take that one off the table, is there another one that sticks out? Oh, to me, I cracked up when the Canellises came out.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that was good. Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. Nothing going on.
Vita Mayday has it right. Dan Matha.
Oh man, Dan Matha. Oh man, that was the best. That was the absolute best. That's going to do it for us today. No show tomorrow. We got Saturday's Crown Royal review as our 5th episode of the week. We're back on Friday for an episode then. Word has it, Paul is coming back to preview SmackDown. That's exciting stuff. Go check out Friendo Club Wrestling. It's our secondary channel. It's our mid-card channel where we have a bunch of short-form content. Check that out. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We definitely appreciate it. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.